I heard my wife laughing drunkenly with her friends. He's too stupid to realize I've been cheating on him for years. They all burst out laughing. Quick reminder before we begin. If you enjoy stories like this, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. It means a lot. Now let's dive in. I didn't say anything, but when she showed up crying at my door later, she got a surprise she never expected. I'm 33 years old and I never thought I'd be the kind of guy who would post something like this on a forum like this. But here I am. Brace yourself because this story is heavy. Here's the thing. Last weekend I was supposed to take a trip with my friends to watch a game in another state. We had been planning it for months, but Daryl's son got sick at the last minute and we had to cancel. It happens. So I thought I'd surprise Heather, my wife, 32, married for 8 years, and come home early. Yes, I know how these stories usually end, but trust me, what happened was worse than catching her with another guy. When I pulled into the garage around 9 p.m., I noticed several cars parked there. I immediately recognized Michelle's Subaru and Kathleen's Honda. Heather had mentioned she was having the girls over while I was gone, so up until then, everything seemed fine. I was heading to the front door when I heard voices coming from the back deck, so I went around through the side gate. They were shouting in that exaggerated way people do when they've had way too much wine. I was about to show myself and say hi, but then I heard my name and stopped. Call it intuition or whatever. Griffin is so... I don't even know how to explain it, Heather slurred. Her friends laughed. My God, I still can't believe you kept this going for so long, Michelle said. He's too stupid to realize I've been cheating on him for years, Heather practically shouted, and they all burst into laughter. I froze mid-step, like my brain had completely shut down. Sutton was the best decision I ever made, she continued. Last week, while Griffin was working late, Sutton came over and we did it on the couch where he loves to take those sacred naps. More laughter. Not the sacred nap couch, Kathleen screamed, like it was the funniest thing in the world. And the next day, Griffin was all sweet, making you breakfast, Michelle added. If he knew what his beloved wife did the night before, my stomach dropped. It felt like I'd been punched. That breakfast. I made avocado toast just the way she likes it, eggs exactly how she prefers. I brought coffee to bed and told her I loved her. I don't know how long I stood there listening to them swap stories. My whole body was shaking. I found out that my work trips were her favorite opportunities to have Sutton over, that they'd been sleeping together for more than 3 damn years, and that even the weekend of my father's funeral, she was with him, telling me she felt sick and couldn't attend. I didn't confront anyone. I didn't make a scene. I quietly went back to my car, drove to a Target parking lot nearby, and sat there until I could breathe again. I must have looked insane. A grown man hyperventilating in his car at 10 p.m. on a Saturday. When I could finally think straight, I called Daryl. Thank God his son was already better and he picked up. Man, my life just imploded, I told him. I explained everything. Don't go home tonight, he said. Come sleep here, we'll figure this out. At Daryl's place, I paced back and forth in the living room while he searched for divorce lawyers on Google. My mind kept replaying every moment from the past few years that suddenly made sense. The girls' trips with barely any photos, her new habit of leaving her phone face down, unexplained hotel charges less than 50 kilometers from home, late nights showing properties to clients. I felt like the biggest idiot on the planet. Around 3 a.m., I got a text from Heather. The girls slept over. Hope you're having fun with the guys. Love you. I almost threw my phone at the wall. The audacity. You need to be smart now, Daryl said, taking the phone from my hand. Don't give yourself away yet. The next day, I acted like everything was normal. I told her I crashed at Daryl's because I drank too much. She believed it instantly. She even had the nerve to complain about having to clean up after her friends with a horrible hangover. The following week, I became a full-on spy. While she was in the shower, I checked her phone. Thousands of messages with Sutton, saved as Sutton Client, exchanged over years. Hotel receipts, explicit photos. I screenshot everything and emailed it to myself. I went through our finances. Hundreds spent on restaurants I'd never been to. Lingerie I'd never seen. She even used our joint account to book a weekend trip while I was burying my father. Each discovery felt like another knife in my chest. 8 years of marriage. All the times I defended her to my family when they said she seemed selfish. All the plans I made for our future. The conversations about having kids next year. All lies. At lunchtime, I met with a lawyer, the most ruthless one in town according to Google reviews. She explained everything calmly. Document everything. Protect your financial security. Prepare for the hurricane, she said. I see this every day, Griffin. You're right not to confront her yet. The more prepared you are, the stronger your position will be. That night, while I watched Heather laughing at something on her phone, probably texting him, something inside me changed. The pain was still there, but now it was ice in my veins, not fire. I realized I didn't just want out of this marriage, I wanted justice. Heather had built her entire life around the image of being respected and admired, social status, reputation. The pose of the perfect wife with the perfect life on Instagram. She took pride in being the one who gave advice to everyone, the moral compass of the group. And now I had proof that all of it was a lie. I started moving. I transferred half of our savings into a new account under my name only. I password protected all important documents. I made a detailed list of every asset we owned. I photographed everything of value in the house, exactly as the lawyer instructed. Meanwhile, I pretended everything was fine. I kissed her goodbye in the morning, asked about her day, watched Netflix next to her while she texted Sutton right beside me. Every day, I played the innocent husband while coldly preparing the complete collapse of her world. 2 weeks later, everything was ready. I had documented proof, financial statements, evidence of the affair, a lease for a new apartment already signed and paid, and the support of my family, who were horrified by what she had done. The hardest part was staying calm when she looked me in the eyes and lied. When she said, "I love you," before going to sleep. When she suggested we start trying for a baby the following month. Every time I wanted to scream in her face, but I stayed quiet because I knew something she didn't. The woman who mocked my stupidity had no idea she was about to face the coldest, most methodical, and most relentless person she had ever known. And I was going to do everything by the book, completely legal, every detail airtight. First of all, my God, guys, I never imagined my post would blow up like this. Thank you all for the support and for the Reddit award. What was that? To those asking if this was some kind of creative writing exercise, I wish it were. It's been 3 weeks since the last update. A lot has happened, so brace yourselves. Remember when I said I had a plan? Yeah, I've been executing it with surgical precision. The day after my last post, I noticed something strange. Heather suddenly became extremely sweet. She cooked my favorite meals, started taking initiative in bed, even suggested we look at houses in better neighborhoods. At first I thought she had figured everything out, but then I understood. Guilt. Classic cheater behavior, according to all the Reddit posts I'd been compulsively reading at 3 a.m. Let me explain exactly what I've been doing. Finances. That was priority number 1. I had already transferred half of our savings into my personal account. Next, I began documenting every single cent she spent related to the affair. Those detailed hotel charges. The dinners she claimed were with clients, but were actually with Sutton. All logged in spreadsheets. The lingerie she bought for him. I photographed every receipt. My lawyer said this could be considered dissipation of marital assets. In other words, she used our money to maintain an extramarital affair. I also froze our joint credit cards and told her the bank had detected suspicious activity and was issuing new cards. Technically, that wasn't a lie. That bought me time to remove her as an authorized user on my main card. The look on her face when her card was declined at Sephora was unforgettable. She called me screaming, saying she was humiliated. I played dumb and said the new cards must be delayed. Property. I started quietly moving my important belongings to the new apartment. Not all at once, only what was irreplaceable. My father's watch, family photos, important documents. I did this whenever she went out to show properties. Translation, meet Sutton. Each time I removed something, I left a similar item behind or rearranged things so she wouldn't notice. The dossier. This is where Daryl really shined. He helped me assemble what we nicknamed the nuclear file. Screenshots of messages, photos, hotel receipts, credit card statements, a complete timeline of the affair, and a flash drive with recordings of phone calls between her and Sutton. We live in a one-party consent state. I made several copies, one for me, one for my lawyer, one for Sutton's wife. Yes, I found her. Laura seemed like a decent woman who had no idea about any of this, and one copy that would eventually go to Heather's parents. The social side. This part was delicate. I wanted to control the narrative before Heather could invent some story painting me as the villain. So I started planting small seeds among our mutual friends. Casual conversations like, "Do you think it's normal to feel this lonely in a marriage?" Or, "Heather's been kind of distant lately, hasn't she?" Nothing direct, just enough to create doubt. I also took screenshots of Heather's Instagram, where she posed as the perfect wife, posting "Y'all blessed and our goals" while blatantly cheating. The hypocrisy was unreal. D-Day. I chose the date strategically, the day of the big event Heather had been organizing for months for her clients. Here's exactly how that morning went. I acted like always, made coffee, gave her a goodbye kiss, wished her luck at the event. She left confident, wearing an extremely expensive outfit, which I now knew she had paid for to impress another man. At exactly 10 a.m., I sent the complete dossier to Sutton's wife via express delivery. I included my phone number in case she wanted to talk. By noon, chaos had erupted. I was in my new apartment when the messages started flooding in. "Why is Sutton's wife calling me? Did you talk to her? Answer your phone." I didn't respond. I let it pile up. Then Laura, Sutton's wife, called me. We talked for almost an hour. She was devastated, but she thanked me for telling her. Apparently, Sutton had been making her feel paranoid for years, telling her she was imagining things. She told me he was now desperate to save his marriage, and to do that was throwing Heather under the bus. By 2 p.m., Heather's event was falling apart. She had to leave in the middle of it due to an emergency. She kept calling me nonstop. At 3 p.m., I sent a short factual email to her parents. No drama, just the facts, timeline, and key evidence. I've always respected them, and I believe they deserve to know who their daughter really was. I made it clear I didn't want to hurt them, but I also wouldn't allow Heather to manipulate the story. At 6 p.m., I was sitting calmly in the living room when Heather finally arrived. Her makeup was smeared. Her face looked like it had aged 10 years in a single day. She started with anger. "How could you tell Laura? How could you betray me like this?" Then she switched to bargaining when she saw I wasn't reacting. She tried everything: crying, screaming, seduction, more crying. I just sat there calmly, like a Buddha, and said, "We both know exactly what's going on." Then I handed her the divorce papers my lawyer had already prepared. The blood drained from her face when she realized this wasn't an impulsive reaction. I had been planning this for weeks while sleeping next to her every night. That's when she noticed some of my things were gone. I told her I was living somewhere else, and that she had 3 days to figure out where she would live before I notified the landlord about breaking the lease. We had a morality clause, another valuable find from my lawyer. The days that followed were a roller coaster. She bounced between threats. "You won't get away with this," begging. "We can fix this, it was just physical. You're the only one I really love," and playing the victim. I was lonely. "You work too much." Meanwhile, her social circle was collapsing. Michelle and Kathleen disappeared as soon as they realized they could be exposed. Her parents called me and, according to her mother, had a very disappointing conversation with her. And Sutton, the coward, went into full panic mode, telling his wife that Heather was obsessed with him and wouldn't leave him alone. Reality hit hard when Heather realized that half of our savings were now legally mine, that she no longer had access to our joint cards, that she couldn't afford the rent on her own. The disaster at the event meant she would likely lose clients. And yesterday came the final blow. She found out through mutual friends that everyone already knew what she had done. Not because I spread it, but because Sutton's wife told her friends, who told their friends. And just like that, the perfect image she had so carefully cultivated began to crumble. Last night, she showed up at my new apartment. Somehow she got the address, probably through her friend who works at a real estate agency across town. She was crying at my door, makeup completely streaked, utterly destroyed. For a second, I almost felt sorry for her. I almost let her stay longer because my neighbors were starting to notice, and I didn't want a scene. As soon as she came in, she started unloading everything, saying she'd made the biggest mistake of her life, that she'd do anything to fix it, that she couldn't believe she'd risked the marriage for someone like Sutton. I just looked at her and said, "Do you remember when you told your friends I was too stupid to realize I was being cheated on?" The look on her face when she realized I had heard everything that night. There are no words to describe it. First came shock, then horror, and finally shame. She tried to say it wasn't really like that she was drunk, that it was just meaningless talk, blah blah blah. I cut her off and asked her to sit down. I had something to show her. When Heather showed up crying at my door, she got a surprise she never expected. A complete dossier on her new financial reality. I had spreadsheets, projections, and a meticulous breakdown of just how screwed she would be after the divorce. Long story short, I executed the plan perfectly. I exposed my wife's affair to everyone who truly mattered. I secured my financial future and watched her world collapse in real time. She came asking for forgiveness and instead received a hard dose of reality. Update. It's been 6 months since my last post. First of all, thank you so much to everyone who messaged asking if I was still alive. I am. I just needed time to process everything before sharing the final chapter of this entire saga. You know those YouTube videos where they demolish old buildings? It starts with a few strategic explosions here and there until the whole structure collapses in on itself. That's exactly how my ex-wife's life fell apart, and I had a front row seat. The morning after the night Heather showed up crying at my apartment, I woke up with a strange sense of calm. For the first time in months, I slept through the night without waking up at 3 a.m. with that knot in my stomach. I made my coffee, checked Reddit, and realized I hadn't even thought about checking whether she'd texted me. Progress. Meanwhile, Heather was facing what my therapist later called the culture of consequences. After leaving my apartment, she apparently went straight to Michelle's house, assuming her best friend would take her in. According to our mutual friend Jake, Michelle literally pretended not to be home, despite her car being in the driveway and the lights on. Top-tier friendship, right? So what's happened since then? Let's break it down. The divorce process. The legal side was surprisingly smooth. My lawyer was worth every penny. During mediation, Heather tried to argue that she deserved half of everything because one mistake shouldn't erase 8 years of marriage. The mediator, an older woman with zero patience for nonsense, simply looked at her and asked whether 3 years of documented infidelity counted as one mistake. When Heather realized the tearful act wasn't working, she switched to threats. She said she would destroy my reputation, tell everyone I was abusive, I wasn't, and make the divorce as painful as possible. My lawyer calmly slid the photos of her with Sutton across the table and reminded her that Maryland is a state where adultery can impact spousal support. The look on Heather's face was priceless, like someone bringing a pocket knife to a nuclear war. We finalized everything 2 weeks later. I kept my retirement accounts and most of our assets. She walked away with enough to start over, but nowhere near the lifestyle she'd been used to. The judge himself told her she should consider herself lucky, given the circumstances and the financial damage. Even for me, that part was hard to watch. Heather had to move back in with her parents, in a retirement community. At 32 years old, she went straight from our luxury apartment to a guest bedroom with floral wallpaper and a twin bed she had slept in back in high school. She tried to keep up appearances on Instagram for a while. Lots of vague quotes about personal growth and trusting the journey. Carefully angled photos hiding the fact that she was back in her childhood bedroom. But these days, social media is strangely transparent. People notice when you're only posting throwback photos instead of new content. Her financial situation worsened even more when she lost her job. Not directly because of the affair. Her boss didn't care about anyone's personal life, but she started missing work and showing up late constantly. Depression, probably. I won't lie. I understand that part. The social consequences. This was the most interesting part to observe. Our social circle fractured in ways I never could have predicted. Team Griffin. Daryl, Clara, Jake and his wife, most of my coworkers, and, interestingly, Tina, Heather's cousin, who apparently had always known Heather was selfish. Team Heather. At first, only her parents, though even they were keeping their distance according to family rumors. Later, she somehow reconnected with Kathleen, who was also going through a divorce and was deep in her men are trash phase. Most people simply drifted away from both of them, and I get it. Nobody wants to get involved in divorce drama. The strangest case was Michelle. After ignoring Heather at first, she messaged me on Facebook to ask how I was doing. She asked if we could grab coffee sometime. I declined. There was something about how she abandoned Heather the moment things got hard that felt fake to me. The Sutton situation. Laura, Sutton's wife, and I stayed in touch. Nothing romantic. Just two people trying to deal with very similar betrayals. We'd meet for lunch every few weeks and exchange updates. Sutton tried every cliché reconciliation tactic imaginable, straight out of a bad rom-com. Standing outside her house with a boombox. Sending massive flower arrangements to her workplace. He even tried involving their pastor. Nothing worked. Laura filed for divorce 3 weeks after D-Day and moved to her sister's place in Pennsylvania. The last I heard, she's dating a kindergarten teacher who coaches a kid's baseball team on weekends. Good for her. Sutton tried to contact me too. He sent a long message saying we were both victims, that Heather had relentlessly pursued him. I replied with a thumbs up emoji, dry but completely appropriate. My personal journey. This part is harder to write. During the first month after moving out, I became almost a hermit. I worked, went home, ordered delivery, watched whatever was new on Netflix, slept. My apartment looked like a college dorm. Mattress on the floor. 1 pan, 2 plates. No decoration. Eventually, Daryl staged a sort of intervention. He showed up one Saturday morning with a bag of bagels and forced me to actually talk about how I was feeling. I'm not much of a crier, but man, that day was rough. I told him things I hadn't even admitted to myself yet. That beneath the anger, what I really felt was sadness. Sadness for the years lost, for the future I thought I'd have, for how easily someone I trusted completely was able to betray me. After that, I started therapy. I found a therapist through BetterHelp who specialized in betrayal trauma. He didn't try to push reconciliation, forgiveness, or any of that Hallmark card nonsense. He just gave me practical tools to process what happened and move forward. I started with small steps. I bought a real bed, joined a local soccer league, started accepting social invitations, went back to cooking instead of living off frozen pizza and protein shakes. 2 months ago, I went on my first date since the divorce. Nothing serious. Just coffee with a woman I met through a hiking meetup group I joined. It was really awkward. I'd forgotten how to talk to someone new like a normal person. But it was a start. The final confrontation. Last week, something unexpected happened. I was at Home Depot buying paint for my new apartment. I'd finally gotten tired of staring at white walls. That's when I literally bumped my cart into Heather's. She looked different. Shorter hair, less flashy clothes. For a second, neither of us knew what to do. Then she asked if she could talk to me for a minute. Against my instincts, I said, "Okay." We sat on a bench outside, both holding our Home Depot bags like shields. She started with an apology. A real one. No excuses. No victim playing. She simply acknowledged how much she had hurt me and said she was working on herself to understand why she did what she did. I won't lie. Part of me expected manipulation, tears, an attempt at reconciliation. None of that came. She just wanted me to know she was sorry, that she was also in therapy, and that she hoped I was doing well. Then she said she was moving to Chicago to start over. She had a job interview lined up and would stay with a college friend until she found a place of her own. The strangest part? I realized I felt nothing. No anger, no pain, not even that bitter sense of satisfaction. Just nothing. Like watching the final episode of a TV series you'd already lost interest in a long time ago. We said goodbye awkwardly. No hug, just a nod. As she walked away, she turned back and said something that stuck with me.